Hello and welcome to our final Coaching Bites for Busy People. I'm Teresa Hargreaves and I'm your We've Got This business coach. I've really enjoyed our time together this week and I hope you have too. Today we're going to be doing our final installment, Making Peace with Change, Finding Your Feet in a Shifting World. Before we do that, though, a quick reminder of who I am. So I am Teresa Hargreaves. This is me. I am your coach. And outside of business coaching, I try to coach myself in the best way. And my personal coach is my amazing Black Labrador Rolo. And we do all sorts together. He's a real advocate for getting me outdoors and stretching myself beyond my comfort zone, beyond my limits, because we all know that that's where the growth happens. If you want to know about me, and if you'd like to find out a little bit more about what I do, then please feel free to join me in my LinkedIn profile. You QR code, and there on the QR code, you'll find everything that you need about me, your business coach, Teresa Hargreaves. So, what do I do and who do I support? I have experience in all manufacturing areas within the food industry and lots of other sectors as well, whether that be engineering, education, coach a lot of head teachers, and I know how hard that role is, whether you be a small primary school or a large secondary school. Not only have I experience within large global organizations, but also in small solopreneurs. And I do a lot of coaching with network marketeers. There's then social enterprises, which I just adore trying to help because they're always striving to do good. There's the recruitment agencies and also within sales. And the sector that always makes me feel old is when I support within PR and marketing because they're always so trendy. It's a great area. So as you can see, I can support within all sorts of different industries because at the end of the day, it's about coaching and supporting the individual. So today, here we are. We are making peace with change, and we can look at all areas of change. But how do we really sort of cement ourselves in this world at the moment that is causing not only overwhelm within our personal lives, but also within our workplaces? So let's have a little look into that a little bit further. First of all, let's not forget we are built for change. We started off as apes, and over the hundreds and hundreds of years, look at where we've evolved to. So we are actually built for change. If you think about if you are a parent, this when you were a first-time parent, this will have astounded you. One day you are holding this newborn that has developed inside of you if you are a woman. And this newborn, within literally 2 years, has gone from being held in your hands to being able to do nothing for themselves apart from just about breathing, to all of a sudden they're walking, they're making noises, they can feed themselves. They have developed these skills at such a pace that they have changed dramatically. And we can see that that's within us, that is within our DNA. And then as we progress through life, it sort of gets knocked out of us a bit, really, doesn't it? If you think about it, from the minute a toddler is walking, we're telling them, please don't move, please be careful, don't go near that table, don't do this, be conscious of where you are, don't stand in the puddle, is the big one, isn't it? And so we absolutely, over time, knocked our confidence down and down and down. And so we forget that we are built for change. And societal pressures take that fear factor and really embed it into us. So let's step away from that and let's try and get back to feeling as though change isn't a negative. Change doesn't fail because people are lazy. It fails when people feel unsupported. And this is where it is so important within the workplace. A McKinsey report showed that 70% of change initiatives fail due to the resistance or the lack of support. For businesses to grow and for our targets and our goals to be achieved, we need to constantly change and evolve because the environment will constantly change and evolve. However, employers tell us that when they're not being felt that they're supported and when their leaders don't help navigate them, change isn't going to happen well. So be really conscious of that. It's really important to take people on the journey with you in a positive way. Those emotions around organizational change are predominantly anxiety, confusion, and frustration. And a lot of that will come from the fact it hasn't been explained properly. People don't understand the why. Therefore, they can't fall in line with being part of that journey. It's about that psychological safety around being able to be embedded into what we would like people to do and why we would like them to do it. It's about communication. We've done quite a bit of communication this week, haven't we? So always think about that. If somebody's being resistant to what you're trying to put in place, try and understand why. Why might that be? Maybe it's not been explained to them well. Maybe it's not been explained in a way that they understand. So whilst it makes common sense to you, maybe it doesn't make sense to them. So maybe have those conversations, maybe do those workshops. This is so important. And we've spent quite a lot of time this week, haven't we, looking at the control boxes. So it's all based around Stephen Covey and his circles of control and influence. I put them into boxes. I just seem to be able to resonate better with that. So that works better for me. So where do we put our energy? There's so much of life and work that we can't control. If we think about it in regards to the workplace, things will happen. From a negative point of view, redundancies will have to take place. Departments may need to shift. Budgets may need to be altered. Forecasts may not always fall in line with where we thought we needed them to be. A machine might break, so we can't get the throughput that we need. We can't control those. So therefore, don't put all your energy into that box. You can, however, influence things. So have a think about what could you influence? What sort of things will help you? And how can you have those conversations to influence it? So put a bit of energy in there. Most importantly, spend your time in what you can control. Spend your time in choosing where you have your conversations, who you have your conversations with, what reports you spend time and effort on, and where you want to actually make some step changes. For example, I suppose, if maybe there are redundancies coming up, or maybe you are within that scenario, you are potentially going to be made redundant. Have a think about what you can control and put your energy in there. Because the more time you spend in the can't control box, in the grey box, the more time you are going to be worrying. And this is going to lead to stress. And this is going to lead to overwhelm. And this is going to lead to not being in a great place. Your mental health will really struggle. I was listening to Dr. Ranjan Chatterjee the other day. Ever since I went to see him at his live tour a couple of months ago, I'm constantly addicted to his podcast. And he was a GP. I'm not sure if he still practices, but he was saying 90% of conditions of people that come through his door as a GP could be completely stopped if it weren't for stress and overwhelm. And therefore, that's about mindset. It's completely about mindset. If you think back to 15 years ago, maybe 20, but 15 years ago, this idea of a fixed mindset and a growth mindset was quite alien. I can remember being in one of my first presentations where our sales director put up a screen with the two skulls and various cogs whirring around them. I've tried to find a much nicer one for today. It's a plant stroke light bulb. And it was quite revolutionary to think about what this growth mindset would be about. And do you know what? I can remember feelings of, oh, don't be ridiculous, I'm not changing. Can you believe that? I'm not changing. I don't know what this growth mindset is all about. Gosh, 15 years now, I completely advocate for a growth mindset. Strive to be better every day. 1% change. We looked at that yesterday. 1% marginal change will make such a difference. Within 3 months, you will have climbed that mountain. So how does this relate into dealing with change? Well, it's a really simple scenario. Things will happen. So that's the event. Life happens. Excuse the language, shit happens. And we can't always control it. But what we can control is how we react to it. So our reaction to the event absolutely dictates the outcome. So let's think of this really simply. Let's go back to that child analogy. Do you remember trying to learn to ride a bike? Took me years. Some may say I can't even ride a bike now. You will get onto that bike. Somebody will take the stabilizers off. Oh, that awful parent. And send you on your way. And you will undoubtedly fall over and fall off your bike. That's the event. What happens next is your reaction. Do you get up, get back on the bike and carry on? Or do you stay on the floor and not get back on the bike? So as a child, there'll be a bit of both going on. But ultimately, most children will at some point get back on that bike, and then they 2-3 times later, they're riding their bike without stabilizers, with somebody cheering them on in the background. That is exactly the same with any scenario that you are faced with in life, and in this context, within work. How you react to the event will dictate the outcome. So if something is coming your way, if change is happening and you are fearful of it and you are resistant to it, the outcome will be negative. If change is coming and you take it on board, you stand back and process, you change your language around it, the outcome will be much more positive. So how you reframe it will be absolutely about the experience that you experience. The experience that you experience. I'm sure there's some better words there, but it's Friday. Okay, so what's a simple toolkit to help us change? So first of all, you need to acknowledge it. Do not procrastinate. Procrastination is the devil. Procrastination comes from fear. So if you don't acknowledge that change and face into it, you are not going to have a positive outcome. You then need to accept it, hopefully with 2 C's and not 1. You can tell this wasn't written by AI, can't you? So you need to accept that this change is going to happen or needs to happen or is potentially going to happen. And then explore around it, understand it, go and find out what you need to get to a point that will help you adapt in this scenario. Work out what are your options, what can you do, where do you fit in this? Is this something you want to be part of, or is this something that you don't want to be part of? Work out what are your options, and then you need to act. Act on that. Because at the end of the day, this is your reaction, which will dictate the outcome. So here are some of the things that will help with that. So first of all, reframe. What is the opportunity? Within every situation, there is an opportunity for you. What could that be? So for example, maybe there is a new line manager comes in And this line manager is somebody that you maybe have crossed paths with before and maybe haven't always seen eye to eye. So I can imagine that the knowledge of this is making you feel quite negative and maybe a bit fearful because you're not quite sure what this is going to mean for you. So what could the opportunity be? Well, first of all, you need to go and seek out what this really means and what's coming from this. So maybe sit down and have a coffee with them when they start. You go to them, you go on the front foot, you seek it out. Maybe set some boundaries about what this relationship means. They will have grown since you were last together, and you will have grown since you were last together. So go and seek out the opportunity. There might be something that you can help each other with that's going to put you on a level footing. When change comes, sometimes our world is thrown upside down. So where is some routine that you can anchor some stability in? And what I mean by that is there might be things whipping around that you've got no control over, and you're still looking for the opportunity, you're gathering up the facts. So put some routine into your life so that you do have some stability. For any of you that follow me, you will know that I'm a miracle morning girl. So for me, my routine is getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and doing certain things that get my day off with me in control and with some intention. I know if I have done that, I am much more capable of dealing with anything that happens in the day, no matter what is thrown at me. On the days I don't do that, well, hell can break loose. There's a lot of science around journaling, whether that be for personal use or for professional. When there is change afoot, the emotions will run high. And sometimes it's hard to level those out. So get them down on paper, write it out, look at what that looks like. In a work capacity, it might be that you need to do some brainstorming. You need to try and understand what's going on. You need to see what the options might look like. It might be that you just want to write, this feels scary. Because otherwise you stay in sort of a loop, an emotional doom loop, and you need to break that loop. So writing it down can break the loop, and then it will give you capacity to move on and look to see what your options are. Boundaries. We talk a lot about boundaries this week, don't we? So where are your boundaries? Where are the things that you can control? Where are the things you can influence? And where are the things that you can't control? Put some boundaries around what you can control. So that might be your time. So maybe, for example, the change is a new project. It's going to add to your workload significantly. You're not feeling comfortable about this. So therefore, put some boundaries around it. And maybe you will say, okay, I will be working on this project. There's some opportunity within this because it's going to unlock some new skills for me, but I'm only going to do it in 3 till 5 o'clock every day. Put some boundaries around what it can be. And of course, you may need to speak to somebody. You may need to find a safe space to work out all of this. So that could be in somebody like myself as an external coach. There might be somebody in your business that you can talk to as a mentor, but make sure it's a safe space for you. You don't want this to always have a background conversation that stops you from unlocking what the opportunities really are for you. And remember, change is inevitable. We are born to survive in change. And how you lead yourself through it is your choice. It's what keeps you in control. And by choosing the right language, the right mindset, and surrounding yourself with the right people, change is good. Change will lead to growth. Change will lead to opportunities that you never knew were there. So I hope you've really enjoyed all of our coaching bites this week. I know I've thoroughly enjoyed it. So many of you have messaged me when you've watched these on catch up. So thank you for letting me record these. This is me. Teresa Hargreaves from We've Got This. I am your business coach. If you want to talk more, there's my telephone number. Please do get in touch. If you want to have a look at the website, there's the QR code. Please do have a look. There's all sorts of things in there, including the recording from these sessions, if you want to share them with anybody. And you'll also be able to find some of the things that I do for individuals, for groups, for teams, and for businesses. But remember, the thing I love most about what I do is to help you be the best that you can be and to build a bespoke program, especially for you and for your business and for your teams. Whatever you are doing this weekend, enjoy it. It's been a pleasure to share this time with you, and I look forward to catching up with you all again soon. Thank you.